Hello, and thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories. You must remember this, a podcast that focuses on movies and our favorite memories of them. Each week we discuss the films that are celebrating an anniversary from when they came out in theaters. My name is Sword Alexander, and I'm joined by the inspiration of this podcast, my mom, Tracy.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, and hopefully a very happy new year for us all, too. This is the last episode before not only the holidays, but the end of the year, too. We have one more episode that we want to put out for you guys right beforehand, but for now we're going to be celebrating the holidays. It's December 23rd, and this was a pretty interesting week for movies, too. This week we're talking about movies released between December 21st through the 27th. We have Charlie Chaplin with a 33-year anniversary, Castaway with 25 years, Fun with Dick and Jane with a 20-year anniversary, and We Are Marshall with 19 years. We decided to see Chaplin, Castaway, and We Are Marshall to get a fresh look and discuss them in more detail. But we did want to point out Fun with Dick and Jane celebrating a 20-year anniversary. It's funny that most Christmas movies don't really come out during the week of Christmas. They come out several weeks beforehand or around Thanksgiving. Excuse me. Lost my train of thought for a second. So none of these movies have anything to do with Christmas in one realistic way after another. But Fun with Dick and Jane is one of our favorite Jim Carrey movies. I remember the first time I saw it, and I was 11 years old when I saw this, and it was even though I didn't understand the plot really, I kind of did, not really. It was so funny, and it was so wild. And Jim Carrey is an absolute riot. It is one of his best movies in my opinion.
I had explained to you that it was a remake. And it was Jane Fonda and George Segal movie. And I couldn't believe that he did this remake movie. Because I remember seeing the original in the theater. It was back in the late 70s, early 80s.
I never saw the original.
No, I know.
But I still never did. Well, in case anybody else doesn't know, but I never saw the original.
Yeah. I have seen a lot of movies.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably never saw that original.
But Jim Carrey, I mean, look, not to give any dissuade to Téa Leoni, she was perfectly good in the movie, and especially in some parts too. There's a couple of really great lines from her. But Jim Carrey is really what makes this movie so special and so funny, because he really knows how to show a man who's completely unraveling and falling apart in the midst of it's funny because this movie kind of is a foreshadowing for the 2008 financial crisis, because they really show off how bad it was to be in that year, in that time frame. And this came out in 2005.
Right, but it also talks about like the Enron situation.
Mm-hmm. And Enron was this big, massive
energy company.
Yeah, it was an energy company.
And it was a fake company.
Yeah, and defrauded millions of people.
Yes.
And it caused a major stock market crash. Not just a crash, but also a fallout for other companies too. And a lot of people lost their money out of it.
Yeah, but it was a total fake. And so it was such a great, well-written movie. Alec Baldwin's in it. There's a lot of people in it.
I haven't seen it in couple of years, but I remember it pretty well, and we really just wanted to point out that it's celebrating a 20-year anniversary. Yes. So if you've never seen it, please go find a way to see it, because it's really funny and it's really engaging. It makes fun of people, and it makes fun of America and corporate America.
The writing is fantastic.
It is. The writing is, and also it's really heartfelt too. There's a lot of heart that comes from the not just the humor, but comes from the story behind it as well. It's just, I liked it a lot.
It reminds me of a lot like Raising Arizona.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like that.
The comedy is so much like Raising Arizona to me.
I can see that, absolutely.
I think they got a lot of
inspiration.
Yes, from that movie.
So we're going to move on to talk about the first movie we saw this week was Chaplin. It was released December 25th, 1992. It was directed by Richard Attenborough, and it was written by William Boyd, Brian Forbes, and William Goldman. It's the life and times of Charlie Chaplin as it's told in this abridged biopic starring Robert Downey Jr. So Downey Jr. plays Charlie Chaplin. This is a pivotal role for his career. It's one of his most well-known roles. And when people talk about, when mainstream media likes to talk about him outside of the Iron Man movies, they talk about Chaplin because it's one of his defining, most incredibly well done roles that he's ever achieved, in my opinion. It's already hard enough playing Charlie Chaplin in and of himself, but being able to not only play Charlie Chaplin but live his story, I don't think anybody else has really done it before.
So when I didn't see the movie till years later. I always wanted to see it, but never had a chance. So when I saw it, I was shocked by his performance. But I did like the film overall. I thought that it was, even back then, I thought this film didn't do him justice. So I loved him, but I didn't love the film.
It is funny. This is my second time watching this movie. And the first time I was so enthralled with his performance that I pretty much was ignoring the movie in and of itself. But watching it this week and getting that second look to get a fresh look at everything, I was really tired. This movie sucks. I'm going to be honest. This movie sucks.
Okay, there's another word you can use.
This movie stinks.
Okay.
It's really awful. It's really not good.
It's edited terribly.
The story is nothing to do with the story of Charlie Chaplin as a filmmaker. It really has to do with his life and his relationships, not only with his family but with his several wives and the people he fell in love with. And like his obsession with
promiscuity.
Work. Yes, and his obsession with work. Rather than, we get to see a little bit of his filmmaking process about how he makes films, but I really wanted to see more of what makes him tick, what inspired him, just how he functioned. And Robert Downey Jr. does such a good job playing the role, but the writing does not properly do him justice in this film.
No, and when I first saw it, I thought, I don't care about his mother being crazy. I'm so sick of seeing stars and the crazy mothers. I don't care.
After the second wife, I was tired of him dealing with his marriage. It's like, I don't care about this. I'm done.
But I remember my mother talking about that he married a really young girl when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
She would talk about him being fathered a child at an old age, and that was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And I remember my grandmother talking about it, and my mother talking about it. Oh, there's, that Charlie Chaplin, boy, did he fathered a child at and he had a young woman at such an old age, and he fathered a child, I didn't know he had 8 kids with that woman.
It's so funny because near the end of the movie, you see him as an old man getting older, and you notice that he is getting older, but his wife is like doesn't really change that much, and you're saying, this is terrible makeup. It's terrible.
Yeah. She's not getting older.
She's not getting older at all.
Yeah.
And then we find out she's like 37 and he's 80.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, I'm like, oh, no wonder she doesn't age that much, because most of the time it's between her 30s until her 60s. You don't see her age because she's got the same hair because she's so young compared to him. It's incredible.
But it was very, very, it was
hush hush.
Well, no, not hush hush. It was very. He was disgusting that he would get with such a young woman at such an old age. I mean, there was also men would get with younger women, but it was such a difference.
Such a gap.
Yes, and so it was like,
ugh.
Yes. Is he gonna gum her to death? It was things like.
Oh my god.
It was he kept changing women, and he kept having younger and younger women. Like, when is he going to stop getting younger women?
No, don't answer that. We know where that line was going to be drawn, and it's still being talked about to this day in some way, shape, and form with the Epstein files.
But then in the movie they kept saying he finally found true love.
Whoopee.
No, stop saying whoopee. Don't say whoopee. That's where the song
Making Whoopee
came from.
So, I don't know, I didn't like this movie.
Sorry.
But, God, Robert Downey Jr. is so dang good in this. He absolutely deserved the awards that he was nominated for and eventually won. Had a budget of $31 million. It made $12 million in the box office.
But it creeped me out that the real Charlie Chaplin's daughter played his mother. It creeped me out.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. I mean, when you look at it that way, I mean, I guess I can see where you're coming from.
And she got thinner and thinner in the movie to me. She got... It creeped me out. It did. It creeped me out.
So with that in mind, what would you give it out of 5 stars?
I just give for his performance, Robert Downey Jr.'s performance, a 5. But for the movie, it was a 2. It had some really bad things in it. It just didn't. The editing was terrible. But there was some good. Even there were some good things in it. Like Dan Aykroyd was phenomenal in it. And there were some other players in it that was really good.
Kevin Kline, he played.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Douglas Fairbanks.
Thank you.
Jr. And he played Errol Flynn, I think, at one point in another movie that played like a swashbuckler.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So there was, it had some. So I shouldn't be so hard on it, but I was expecting so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But
for a star-studded cast and something about one of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
And Anthony Hopkins is in it,
yeah.
And he plays the narrator and the person that was helping him write his book.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been on such a different level. It really cheated this movie. How whoever was involved with the editing and everything involved.
I give it a 2.5. I don't really plan on seeing this movie again, but those performances were really great, and that's the reason why I give it that generous of a score. So.
But I do remember when he came to the Academy Awards. But I remember him walking out. I don't know why I remember him walking out.
And because in the movie he's in a wheelchair.
Yes, but I remember him standing up and walking out. I don't know why I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that in my head.
I don't know. Please me. All right, we're going to move on to the next movie. Castaway is released December 22nd, 2000, directed by Robert Zemeckis, and written by William Broyles Jr. The sole survivor of a cargo plane crash, a systems analyst at FedEx, finds a way to survive a deserted island by himself with little to no supplies. This was starring Tom Hanks. It was also starring Helen Hunt too, and I did add one more actor, the infamous Wilson, into it as well. So this movie was huge. It's one of the biggest Tom Hanks movies of all time. I'd say it's one of the biggest films of the 2000s. Like, everybody knows what Castaway is when you say Castaway.
And it was really, really marketed about... I mean, I felt it was marketed because they talked about him and how he changed his appearance during the filming because of going from overweight to thin and longer hair and bleached out and tanned and thinner and going through that tremendous ordeal. So
they said that it was said that they took several months off in between filming when he was first on the island to the 4 years later segment. So they took several months off of filming so that way he could get ready for the role itself physically in order to make it happen. And it was a real turmoil what he went through to make it happen. But I don't know what his process was. But he looked incredible. He looked great compared to when you first see him on the island and everything.
It was a tremendous movie. And there were some things I didn't like about it, but there's some great things that I loved about it.
Did you see it when it first came out?
Yes.
So it was a big Castaway party.
I wouldn't say party. No. No.
Come on, let's go see a guy get brutally tortured on an island. Let's go.
No, it wasn't like that. But we were looking forward to the film. Do you remember
any reactions in the theater when some things were happening that maybe jog your memory when you're watching it now?
The plane crash. I was so shocked by the realism of the plane crash.
That plane crash was incredible. It looked so real.
I was shocked by the plane crash. I was so shocked by it that as I'm watching it again the movie, I don't realize that it took him forever to get water and food while he's on the island. Because I was still in shock over the plane crash. I was having post-traumatic syndrome, and it was so loud. I do remember that it was such a loudness in the theater. That plane crash. I do remember, and the fire. I remember that. And I remember thinking, he's going to get burned up. Mm-hmm. He's going to get burned up from that crash.
But going into what you were talking about, which you raised a really good point. This is probably my second or third time watching this movie. But the first thing I think of when, this situation happens to you is that you have to find food and water. You have to find access to food, access to water, and access to some kind of shelter. And he does shelter at first. He's able to get the raft and get that together. Okay, great. But
not till later. Not till later. But when he first is on the island, when he first gets on the land, he doesn't try to save that raft.
No, the first thing he does is, besides looking around about where he is, trying to see if there's any life nearby, is he writes help on the sand, which...
Later. That was later.
I thought that was one of the first things he did. I remember that being one of the first things he did.
No, but he's not the first. He's just sitting there and he checks for the clock, the
watch that he gets.
That he got from his girlfriend, which he was just he was in shock still. Because he was so lucky. The whole thing was he was blessed from God. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, he was blessed. The fact that he had a purpose.
He had pretty much no injuries when that plane crash happened. It's a miracle that he survived.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was just obviously it was meant to happen that way.
Yeah, he was blessed.
Yes, absolutely. But he writes help on the sand. He makes a bit of a shelter, but not really. It's not really a great shelter. But for a while, he's just trying to figure out what to do. Like, he's just wallowing and he's walking around.
He screams help.
Yeah. And he doesn't start looking for water. He doesn't start looking for food. It takes him a while before he eventually finds a water source of some kind.
It rains.
Yeah.
He doesn't look on the island for a lake. Mm-hmm. He doesn't look for a pond that has a water source.
And there's already not that much food on the island in the first place. There's maybe a couple of crabs and
as a man,
a coconut and ripe coconuts.
As a man, you don't see how he eats.
No,
because it doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So I didn't notice this initially.
There are just some things that you think he's not doing this in the way that he should be. He's an extremely calculated character. He's a very intellectually minded person. He has to understand the safety protocols and what to do in these kind of situations, and he doesn't really follow that. You could say he's in shock from the crash, absolutely, but at the same time, I would want to see how he's going to find water, a sustenance food source. All we see is that he catches fish and eats crabs, but is that all he can actually survive on for 4 years? That's my question. So I think there were a couple inconsistencies when it comes to the writing that really made me question how realistic was it. But it did hold its own for the majority of the film, where I didn't think about that too much because they did such a good job showing you that world, making you feel like you're part of it, and seeing the journey he takes from one day to the next, and eventually 1 year to the next.
I don't think he could have survived 4 years. I think maybe 4 months. 4 months. 4 months, maybe 8 months. 4 months, 4 years, no. Nope, it wouldn't have been 4 months, maybe 4 years.
Yeah, I think because we don't see any... It gets such a small island.
It's like a rock.
Yeah, it's essentially one giant rock with some leaves around it. I don't see him lasting 4 years on that island. Mm-mm. Because there's no proper food source. He could make a water source. He had the technology, quote unquote, to make a water source.
You can't live in a cave. You can't live in a cave. He would have been killed by some kind of animal. He would have got some infection. Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah, but especially with the injuries he gets in this movie. My God, he gets really cut up and messed up as he tries to survive on the island itself.
But overall, the film was incredible. Mm-hmm. It was incredible.
Absolutely.
But it wouldn't have been 4 years. It would have been 4 months, or 8 months, but not 4. No.
It did really well in the box office. It had a $90 million budget. It did $429 million, and that's just the box office. You take into account rental and streaming rights later on, this movie probably ended up making double its money over the next several years after that.
Yeah, it was incredibly marketed well. I didn't like Helen Hunt as the love interest.
I didn't. She was fine, but she wasn't the focus.
But it should have been, I think, someone better.
Yeah. I was just meh. It was just like
she was plain.
Okay. Yeah.
She was plain.
Very plain. So.
But it should have been someone striking.
Yep.
I don't think I would have been like so. It kept him going for 4 years. I don't think so. Plain Jane.
Yeah. All right. So what would you give it out of 5 stars then? With all this in mind, all this retrospective.
3.5. But at the time, I would have given it 5. I was so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because it was so different. It's so unique.
I give it a 4. I think it's very strong, and I would be happy to see it once or a couple other times again, because it's that well made. It's really incredible. I would never believe that Robert Zemeckis directed this, and it shows his prowess as a director and what he's able to accomplish when he puts his mind to things.
And it really was. But I don't believe what you told me about FedEx. I don't believe that.
So
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, let me explain to the listener. It was said that FedEx is heavily involved with this movie. Their wording is everywhere. Their lettering is everywhere. It's FedEx.
Logo.
It's FedEx. It looks like a FedEx sponsored film. All things considered.
Except it has to be.
One report, like when I was reading on Wikipedia, it said that FedEx never paid for any product placement whatsoever.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't, because that would be ridiculous.
On top of that, it may be considered kind of bad advertising that, hey, we at FedEx use cargo planes that crash into the ocean, and our workers will stay on an island for 4 years, and we're not going to look for them.
No, I don't.
I don't believe that FedEx would really
and go
be
to
okay
Russia
with this.
and all this and all that. I don't think so.
It was almost like the first 5 minutes are kind of like a FedEx commercial. We're showing families getting packages delivered to their house.
It's too much like it's a FedEx. No
and
way.
Then in the first part of the movie, you see Tom Hanks's character. He's talking about how important it is to have packages on time. We are FedEx. We are a league above their own and stuff like that. And FedEx isn't sponsoring this?
It doesn't make sense. Come on.
Who would allow this free advertising? No, they would definitely have charged it.
I think it's...
No.
Nope.
So,
nope.
It just goes to show. Anyway, that was... I mean, yeah, I would give it 4. You gave it 3.5. So, it was a good retrospective.
Retrospectively.
Yeah.
But then, I would have given it a 5. I walked out of that theater saying, wow, what an experience.
It still is an experience, and I haven't seen this movie in years, so being able to really see it again from beginning to end...
You were upset that Gladiator got best actor versus
pissed.
Tom Hanks.
So that year, Russell Crowe was nominated and won Best Actor at the Academy Awards when it was up against Tom Hanks, too, and Tom Hanks got completely robbed. Look, Gladiator is a great movie. We talked about it on the podcast a few months ago. Russell Crowe was very good in it. It might be his best movie. But you cannot say that Tom Hanks lost to Russell Crowe in this year. Like, no, it's impossible. He obviously got robbed for the Best Actor award. Tom Hanks should have gone to him. He got completely robbed at the Academy Awards. But who's laughing all the way to the bank? Neither of us. But Tom Hanks is. And Russell Crowe in some respects. You see Tom Hanks now, he's Mr. Rogers, and then... You see Russell Crowe in these little independent movies about road ragers and stuff like that.
He does other things now.
You see he was
Come
really
on.
winning.
That's mean. Yeah, it's mean.
Well, it's true.
Russell Crowe has done Cinderella Man.
Mm-hmm.
He did Beautiful Mind.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about now.
Okay, now stop it. Stop it.
No, he's
leave Russell Crowe.
He's a great actor.
Leave Russell Crowe alone.
He's a great actor. He did not deserve to win Best Actor for that Oscars 2000. And I'm happy to have him come on and state his case on this podcast one day.
All right. Let's move on.
So if you're listening, Russell Crowe, let's have you on the podcast. Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's move on to all right.
So we have one more movie to talk about today. We're going to be talking about We Are Marshall, released December 22nd, 2006. It was directed by Mick G, and it was written by Jamie Linden. After a horrible plane crash causing the death of 75 people, including the majority of the Marshall University football team, the town of Huntington, West Virginia, tries to move on with a new team of freshmen, led by a head coach with a heart of gold.
And this was a true story, and it happened in 1970.
Yes, and It stars Matthew McConaughey. He is the coach that is reluctantly hired to come on board to be the new head coach of the program. This is a real story. Of course, not every single part of this movie is true, but it's to the point where the university still talks about this movie on their website. So obviously they still like it. This is a true story of a horrible tragedy that happened. A plane crash killing 75 people, including the entire football team, outside of a few freshmen at that point in time. And I think they did a beautiful job.
There's a few seniors that were left back that were injured, remember?
Yes. Yeah. In my opinion, this is one of my favorite sports movies of all time. I don't say this because I saw it this week. This is my second time watching it. But when I first saw this movie, I was stunned by how incredibly well done this film is, and nobody talks about it. Because I'd never heard of this movie until we first saw it, which was like 10 years ago, I think. I think we saw it at the condo we used to live in.
Mm-hmm. We saw it.
So
But I remember when they talked about when this happened, when I was a little girl. Danny talked about it.
All the way back in 1970.
Danny talked about it, and it was everybody was mortified by this happening. And I remember, I'm getting chills. Mortified. No one could believe that this happened.
So, with that in mind, did you remember this movie when it came out?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Completely just swept under the rug for you.
Yep. But we loved it. We went crazy over it, and I think we saw it during football season.
Yeah, I think we did. I think it was during the fall season, and I forgot where we found it, but it was like 2015, and we decided to see it, check it out, and I loved it. I was like, and I'm pretty picky on sports movies. There's only a few sports movies I really like, because a lot of them get it not so great, but a few of them get it great. But this was one of my favorites, because I loved the story. It's so heartfelt. It feels so real. It's not just about football. It's about the lives that it impacts and how important something like a simple sport can be on a community of people and how it brings people together.
It's about the human condition.
It is. It's about how people deal with trauma in different ways. Matthew McConaughey plays the head coach, and he plays himself. He plays Matthew McConaughey with a wife and 3 kids, and he gives these great speeches. Motivational Ted Lasso style speeches.
Better than Ted Lasso.
Jason Sudeikis has some pretty great Ted Lasso speeches. He rivals Ted Lasso in this one. But this is pre-Ted Lasso. This is before Ted Lasso was a thing. But he's got some great speeches and talks about what it means to keep going and keep trying and keep doing. So this is. I'm sure Jason Sudeikis must have seen this movie and said, "I like what he's doing."
Oh yeah.
But it's so great. I mean, you got some great actors in here. You got Anthony Mackie. I mean, Captain America himself. You have Matthew Fox.
But you have the guy that's. I think he played in Party of Five. That's the guy that is reticent about coming back.
That's why I was saying Matthew Fox.
Yeah.
I don't remember
his name.
So his name's Matthew Fox.
I think he played in Party of Five.
But maybe, I don't know. But I know him as the lead character, or at least one of the big leads in the Lost TV show. That's how I recognize him.
Okay, well, he played in Party of Five, I think.
Sure.
The oldest brother. Yeah. I think.
And he's phenomenal in this. I mean, he's been always a great actor, but nobody talks about Matthew Fox. He's a great actor. He's one of my favorite. I wouldn't say under the radar actors, but he kind of is too, because he was a star at one point, took a break, and I think he's still kind of taking a break and just doing his own thing.
I think the director must have really had a great way of getting these people to hone in on building their relationships with these actors and how they made them get to know each other very quickly to really make them understand each other.
And connect. You have David Strathairn, who plays the president of the university.
He's so good.
He is incredible in this. He's really great.
He always is good. He's always good. He played the husband of Jessica Lange in that movie about them adopting that child.
Oh, The Blind Side?
No.
The Blind Side. I'm sorry, I completely...
They adopted the crackhead baby.
Wait, you're talking about that one with Halle Berry?
Yes.
I forgot he was in
He
that
was the
movie.
husband. He was the husband. He was so good in that.
God, he was in that
And
movie.
Jessica Lange had to give back the baby. Oh my God, that's so sad.
So, Kate Mara's in it, and this is Kate Mara's best role. I mean,
One of her best roles. She's really good.
she's really great in this. And Ian McShane, I mean, he's got a smaller role, but he's pretty pivotal in one of the storylines too. He's incredible.
Which one is he?
He was the dad of that one
Quarterback
that died.
Gosh.
And it was just great cast, great star-studded cast. But like this is before they became star-studded roles. Anthony Mackie, he's phenomenal in this. I love Anthony Mackie in this. You see the pain, you see the heartache, you see the trauma, you see the even instances of heroism that he displays in this film, and you see this guy's a superstar.
And how they recreate 1970. That the clothing. The style, the town.
There's kind of a warm hue to it, kind of like in that Jobs movie.
Yes.
That recreates that 70s kind of feel.
Oh my gosh. The cars in it, everything. The look, the feel. I remember it. I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh.
And one thing that, you've noticed a lot more of as we're watching movies this year, as you've told me, is the music. And
the music is so good in this. Oh my gosh, I was loving it, man. When they turned on Black Sabbath, that was it.
It was Paranoid.
Yes.
Yep. You got the football players singing the song and everything, and they have some other great 70s tracks in here, and it really makes you relive that feeling of being in that world. At least And
the close-ups that they did some really major close-ups that really makes you feel connected to. That's what makes it.
It's just a really well done film.
And then they do some real long shots that makes it too. And then the sweat coming off of them. Oh my gosh. I loved it. I love that movie.
Yeah, I love this movie too. I really think this is one of the best underrated sports movies. It's one of my favorite sports films of all time. It might be my favorite just because of how well they really combine sports and heart and like community together. And they help you realize why something as simple as like a game of football can be so important to a community of people who really need it as well. But how important pastimes can be to go through tragedy that unfortunately the world can give, and how you go from there.
And it captures so much what this poor community had to go through, and how they had to overcome such adversity.
They give a lot of respect to the people, whether or not not just people in the plane crash, but the people who had to deal with the aftermath of that crash. I think one of the best scenes in the movie is just near the beginning, after the crash happens, and you see the Matthew Fox's character going home, and then the wife is just completely just distraught because she thought he was on that plane, because the plan was that he was going to be on that plane.
And
he tries calling to let her know, but she ends up not getting the message. So she thinks he's dead, and she's trying to deal with that distraughtness like by herself. And then she hears a car nearby going off. She goes out and she sees him, and she's just like losing her.
And it's raining, it's pouring rain, and she runs to him. It was like, oh my gosh, she's almost thinking that she's seeing a ghost.
Yep. It's incredible. It really does. It brings.
Because I called you.
You didn't get my message?
Yeah.
So.
And he called the neighbor.
Yep. So it was great. I really like this movie. This is one of the best movies that you can ever see for any kind of. If you need to watch a sports movie, it is sad, but you know what? It's worth all the emotions, because it gets you in that feeling, and again,
and it makes you appreciate your loved ones.
Yes. And Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
So I will say, like, I have a couple little things that I'm kind of a little bit about. I wish the movie was a little bit longer. I wish there were I wish we had seen more of some of the stuff in between. I want to see more. That was my biggest complaint. I would give it 4.5 stars for that, because I really think they could have showed us more what in the future as well.
It would have been a great miniseries.
Yes, it would have.
But money talks and BS walks.
Yep. Well, it's funny because at the end of the movie they say that this was one of their worst years that they ever had. Like, it was one of the worst years in the entire career of Marshall University. But as the years went by, they got better and better and eventually won a championship.
That's what it took. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. So what would you give it out of 5 stars?
I give it a 5. I give it a 5.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's one of the best movies we've seen all year. So we definitely recommend people checking it out, too. All right, great. That rounds it up. Next time, we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorites from the year that we've started this podcast back in March, and reflect on those movies and what they mean to us and how they impacted us. That way you have a chance to hear our be-all, end-all. Here's our favorites of 2025. So I'm looking forward to getting it produced and posted up for you guys, too. Anything you want to say before the holidays are over?
Just go see the movies and enjoy them with your loved ones, and really appreciate your loved ones.
Absolutely.
And Jesus is there for you, and all the saints and your angels are there. And it's a wonderful life. It's a wonderful life.
It sure is. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.